Alex is a notary public working at Metropolitan Bank in New York. A customer, Mr. Johnson, comes in to sign important financial documents that require notarization. Ms. Johnson physically appears before Alex but realizes she has left her driver's license at home. She is not personally known to Alex and there are no acceptable witnesses present. Instead, she offers her employee ID card from a reputable company, which includes her name and signature but no photograph, and her signed credit card issued by a national bank. According to New York Notary Law 182.5, what should Alex do to comply with the requirements for satisfactory evidence of identity? Well, let's have a look at that section 182.5 found in the Notary Public License Law booklet. And for the purpose of this question, let's jump to subsection B, subsection 2, to see one of the forms of satisfactory evidence of identity, which is at least 2 current documents issued by an institution, business entity, or federal or state government with at least the individual's signature. Now, if we look at the question, we see here that Alex has that. She has an employee ID card from a reputable company, which includes her name and signature, as well as a signed credit card issued by a national bank. So that would comply with that section that I just read from. With that in mind, let's have a look at our 4 choices to determine the solution. Choice A states, refuse to notarize the documents because Ms. Johnson did not provide a government-issued photo ID. That is incorrect because while indeed a government-issued photo ID is one of the satisfactory forms of identity along with some other requirements, in this instance, there is another form of satisfactory evidence of identity that I just read from, which is 2 current documents issued by an institution. So there's no reason to refuse to notarize, and therefore choice A is not the correct solution. Choice B states, proceed with the notarization since Ms. Johnson is physically present and provided 2 forms of identification. Now this solution is tempting because on its face it seems to be complying with what I just read from in the law before. However, notice that the potential solution states that the notarization should proceed simply because 2 forms of identification were provided. However, it's not just that 2 forms of identification were provided. The 2 forms of identification have specific requirements based on the law. That is, that they are current and that they've been signed and they're from an institution, business entity, or government. Because the option here does not state this specifically and makes it sound like any 2 forms of identification are acceptable, therefore choice B is not the correct solution. Choice C states, refuse to notarize the documents unless Ms. Johnson provides identification that includes a photograph as photo ID is mandatory under 182.5. Again, for the same reasons as in choice A, this is incorrect because we have here another part of satisfactory evidence of identity law that allows for 2 government-issued documents with Alex's signature as satisfactory evidence of identity. Therefore, choice C is not the correct solution, which leaves our process of elimination choice D, but let's have a look just to be sure. Choice D states, notarize the documents after verifying Ms. Johnson's identity using at least 2 current documents issued by an institution, business entity, or government that include her signature. Now this is the correct solution, and you can compare this with B, because in B it's simply stated generally that the notarization should proceed because 2 forms of identification were provided. But that's not fully accurate. What's fully accurate to say under the law is that 2 current documents issued by an institution, business entity, or government, including a signature, were provided. So while B, again, as I said before, was somewhat tempting, as you can see from D, D is a lot more precise to what the law states. And therefore, choice D, as the better of the 2 solutions of D and B, notarize the documents after verifying Ms. Johnson's identity using at least 2 current documents issued by an institution, business entity, or government that includes her signature is the correct solution.